From Provo, Utah, this is the Ultimate Final Fantasy Podcast with your hosts, Joseph DeGolier and Caleb Schweiss. This is Ultima Final Fantasy.
Welcome to another episode of Ultima Final Fantasy, the Ultimate Final Fantasy Podcast. I'm your host, Caleb.
And I'm your other host, Joe.
Today we will be reviewing the Final Fantasy V sequel movie.
Entitled,
I don't know, what was the title?
Final Fantasy Legend of the Crystals.
Oh, right. The Crystals.
Now, we do have a new iTunes review this week from Tokyo After Dark, titled Under Space Where.
Nice.
And it's a 5-star review. Thank you very much. He says, or he or she, it doesn't actually say. I should stop saying he as the term, because I know we got some female listeners. I'm in the process of listening to the past episodes. Easily the least boring. Oh, yeah. Least boring of all the game review podcasts I have listened to. These guys are completely dedicated to punishing themselves by playing these games. They are able to give well thought out and informative commentary without mixing in an elitist fanboy attitude. Fantastic job. Keep them coming.
We will.
We will definitely keep them coming.
Yeah.
As we keep ourselves coming.
Yeah.
Through constant masturbation.
Yes, that's the only way you can survive in this field.
That's this field.
If you've ever seen Wolf of Wall Street, that's basically how it is for us grinding through these games.
Twice a day.
Yeah. Those are rookie numbers. Well, thank you very much for that kind, well-thought-out review.
Oh, God, I want to watch Wolf of Wall Street right now.
Yeah.
It's way better than Legend of the Crystals.
Yeah.
All right, well, I think it's time for some news and a little bit of 15 talk before we get into our review. We'll try to keep it short, though, guys. Let's get to it.
Let's do it. All right, so first off in news, we have a demo for Theatrythm Curtain Call.
Good.
Dun, dun. And actually, Caleb Craig, the other Caleb, is playing the demo right now.
How are you liking it, Caleb? Yeah, it's okay.
And I played it earlier and shattered his score, of course. And honestly, it was okay. I mean,
It's just like Guitar Hero.
it's like Guitar Hero without the guitar, but it makes sense to not have the guitar.
I kind of miss Guitar Hero.
Yeah.
Rocksmith is way better, though.
Oh, yes. But Rocksmith is true, and it kicks my ass.
Yeah.
Unlike Guitar Hero,
It
because
doesn't kick my ass too much.
you're way better than me at that, at least.
I've been playing guitar for a while.
That's true. So apparently,
Like 11 years.
with the demo, Caleb is now going to be able to unlock a couple extra characters if he does buy the game, which is a really cool thing for a demo to have. I think This is, you play the demo, you get stuff in the real game, and you buy the game if you buy the game.
Right.
And there's going to be over 60 characters playable, which is insane, but also very easy to accomplish with like 40 games.
Right.
And what was it, like 600 tracks?
Was it 600 tracks?
No, it wasn't 600.
I thought it was like 200.
221 tracks.
221 tracks, according to Caleb behind us.
Yeah. Not
Awesome.
quite 600.
No, not quite.
Yeah. It's kind of cool. The game's going to be coming out in the next week or so. Something like that. I don't know. I'm not terribly excited for it, so it doesn't matter. But yeah, the demo's out.
We won't be playing it for a long time.
No, it's going to be a while. So if you've got a 3DS or whatever.
Or I think it's on mobile, too.
Or mobile. If you have mobile.
I can get Theatrythm, the first one, on my iPod.
Nice.
Yeah. It doesn't work very well, though. It crashes all the time. I've downloaded it before.
The demo?
It's like you play the game and then you had to buy stuff. You had to buy new tracks.
Oh, that you were telling me about that.
And it always crashes on my iPod, so I don't. I can't play it. I have an iPod Touch 4th gen or something like that.
Okay.
So Doesn't
what
work
else?
that well.
What else do
I
we
need
have?
a smartphone really bad. I still use a flip phone.
Hey man, until about 3 months ago, I had a crap phone too.
Yeah.
Like I was very.
Hey, they were not crap phones back in 2006.
No, that's true.
let's-
Back when we were waiting for 14
All right.
or 15, they were awesome phones. You're right.
You're first waiting for 15. Yeah, I guess. Well, it was versus 13.
When we were
then,
first
and
waiting
we were
for
actually
versus
waiting
13.
for 13, and we'll get to that in a second.
We will.
What else we got for news before we get to that?
Apparently, Type 0 is going to be changed, which is awesome because last week we said it was going to be the same.
And that's it. Let's move on.
Yeah, we're not going to announce what.
Because last week we just said it was going to be a graphical update because that's what
That's
we
what
read.
they said, yeah.
Right. And now we're finding out that they're changing some game mechanics.
Right. Apparently, they're perfecting the combat balance, which doesn't mean anything to us Americans because we don't know what the combat is.
We don't know what the combat balance is.
They're also adding difficulty modes because they want players to play through the game in its entirety, which I don't understand what that means either. Unless they want it to be
their other
sadomasochist.
Their other thing that you're about to get into is the sleep thing. So obviously they don't want to have them leveling up in their sleep. They have to play through the whole game.
Yeah, that's one
That's
thing
what they're saying.
Yeah, I guess I could see that. They're removing the function where, like in 4, where you find a certain guy that'll summon other guys and then you just go to bed and level up 40 times.
Yeah, I'm sure that's what's happening in Type 0.
Oh, it's not anymore. That's what it sounds like to me. And apparently,
that is the sleep level up mode.
Is that what that is?
No, it is for me.
Oh yeah. I'm not sure what they mean on this one, but I
find the butterfly summon guy, attack him, and go to bed.
Yeah. God. So apparently they're talking about a multiplayer, and they're cutting it from the game, which I'm not sure if there was a multiplayer before in the Japanese one, obviously, because we can't
Well,
play
if they're
it.
cutting it, then there was.
Or at least they were thinking about doing one for the next-gen port.
Maybe.
So it's just going to be a single-player game, which is fine. I don't expect multiplayer. In fact, multiplayer is the downfall to single-player a lot of times.
Is it?
Yeah.
Are you talking about shooters?
I'm talking about, yeah.
Okay, then you're talking about shooters.
Wait, no, multiplayer is the shooter. Like,
Not necessarily.
I don't care. Battlefield 4's single player is okay, but the
Okay.
multiplayer is what I love.
Well, yeah, you love that.
Yeah, single player is still enjoyable, but
Well, I remember Call of Duty 4, Modern Warfare,
right,
the first one. People forget about it for some reason.
it looks like shit.
The campaign is amazing.
Yeah, the campaigns of those are pretty good.
The Call of Duty 4 is fucking amazing.
So is Modern Warfare 2.
Is it?
Yeah, it's very good.
No, I
they're
haven't gone
really
through the campaign of the second one.
they're really Hollywoody. So it's like it's almost like a movie.
Right, it's
But
almost
that's
like
good.
a movie. It's not really like a movie because it's from a first person's perspective, which is what makes it interesting. It takes that Half-Life
Yeah.
feel to it.
Yeah, it
where
does.
like shit goes on around you, but yet you're still a playable character within it.
Yeah.
But yeah, it is a little bit more Hollywoody. What's going on around you?
Right.
It's pretty Hollywoody, but
Anyway,
the way that they do the perspective is really cool in Call of Duty. I know we shouldn't be talking about Call of Duty in the Final Fantasy podcast.
we're just
Oh, and consider other single player games that were awesome. The first Halo single player campaign was incredible. I don't think that multiplayer was the downfall to the single player campaign
it can be.
because you would play the single
BioShock
player
2.
in-
That's when they introduced multiplayer into BioShock, and that's when it wasn't as good.
Oh, you think so?
They focused a lot on the multiplayer, and the multiplayer servers went down early, and the single player game's not as good as one.
I know there's other games that are like made for multiplayer, like Doom, but I never played the multiplayer of Doom.
I never did either.
I always
I'm
played
Doom
the
3.
campaign. I'm talking about Doom 1 and 2.
Oh yeah, I was
Doom 3, I
played
did
those
play the multiplayer for like a half a second
Yeah,
with my friend Justin.
it was
back
pretty
in-
creepy.
Back
actually.
in when it came out.
So
Whenever
anyway-
Doom 3 came out. When does Doom 4 come? Okay, this is not a Doom podcast. Okay.
So yeah, there's no multiplayer, which is irrelevant to me because I didn't know there was a multiplayer to begin with. So
Okay, we're talking about Type 0. Okay.
right, yeah, Type 0 still, and that's all that we know.
That's it for real news.
Yeah.
Now, there was an article released on the bullshit site named Kotaku.com called The Final Fantasy XV Problem by Jason Schreier.
So wait, why are they
It's
the
a really,
bullshit site?
really hard name to pronounce. It is a bullshit site because every time there is a bullshit Final Fantasy rumor, it is released on Kotaku as news, and it's not released as a rumor.
It's just news.
They call it the news. They go, Final Fantasy 15 will be released in March, right?
Yeah.
They're the ones who do that. And it always pisses me off when I'm looking for news for this goddamn podcast, and
Kotaku's
I keep coming up with Kotaku saying bullshit. And this article is, once again, written as news, but it's really just speculation.
Yeah, it's like...
And he's quoting a couple of the makers behind Final Fantasy. The first thing that he quotes is that from Hironobu Sakaguchi in the interview he did before, that Final Fantasy 15 is taking too long. That's what Hironobu Sakaguchi jokingly said.
Okay.
And he is possibly right in a way. The game is certainly taking too long for the fans, right? It's taking too long for us.
Yeah.
I mean, hopefully when we're done with 13, a release date will be announced.
Yeah. Well, and Hironobu comes from an era where there was a Final Fantasy every year.
Every year or every 2 years at least.
And even with 6 and 7, the gap was not very long. And they were dealing with the same shit that they're dealing with for 15. Yeah. The technological updates.
And the game was more expensive.
Oh, yeah. 7 was pricey.
7 is still one of the most expensive games of all time.
But they finished it.
Right.
In 2 years. And they can't now.
They finished
it, and it was excellent.
Yeah, that's true.
But
the company was smaller. It was just Square.
Yeah, that doesn't make any sense. They were able to finish it when they were smaller, but now that they're bigger, they can't.
Yeah, you'd think that would be different, but there are some diplomacy issues within the company, which they had internal struggles with 13 and with 12. We keep reading stuff later where they were like, people, obviously the main programmer just quit Square Enix for 15. Yeah. Obviously he was under some kind of shit from that company, or he was given it, one of the two. Yeah. I mean, and then of course 12 had half its staff leave
with
Hironobu, and 13 they didn't know what the game was going to be about until they were forced to make a demo for the game. And then there were like arguments to how the game was supposed to be run in 13. It's obviously it's kind of cutthroat in that company.
Yeah, that's what it sounds like.
Yeah, until they have to do a sequel for 13, and then they'll pump that out in 6 months.
Yeah,
it seems like.
And I've heard good things about 13 too. Not from the sales numbers, but I've heard that a lot of the issues that people had with 13, 13.2 kind of fixed. Like it was. Yeah, more enjoyable, which is I have no idea. So.
Yeah, I played about 3 hours of 13.2, and it felt like 13.
Yeah,
to me.
Did it feel necessary? Because 10.2 doesn't feel necessary.
I didn't think there should have been a sequel to 13 in the first place. When I finished 13, I was like, oh, that's done.
Yeah,
it was kind of like a bittersweet ending, but
maybe it's like how there's no spin-offs to 6, the most beloved by critics Final Fantasy game. Maybe it's just they finished the game. Right. It was just complete.
Oh, and by the way, about 6, we have started 6.
We have.
So we're playing it right now. Someone asked us a question about 6, about our opinion on whether or not for our question segment that we're not going to do today, about how we felt about 6 having a main character, and we're not going to answer that question until we do the review.
It was about 6 not having a main character.
Right.
But yeah, we're not going to worry about that yet.
About. From Green Mushroom.
Yes.
Right. So we're not going to answer that quite yet. Not until we're done with 6.
Right.
I get a fresh take on it. Caleb gets to play through it all the way through, and then we get to talk about how we felt about the story and stuff like that.
Right.
And of course we'll get to that in a few weeks, I'm sure.
Oh yeah.
So the other thing that this guy quoted is that on this Kotaku article. Yeah. He talked about how the co-director for Final Fantasy XV, and let me get his name here because he's not a name that I'm familiar with too much, Hajime Tabata, who's co-directing 15 with Nomura, I do believe. Last week in Seattle, this guy asked him about his thoughts on RPGs in Japan, And this is what he said. He said, there's probably a cultural explanation for why the Japanese market is shifting towards handheld or smartphone devices, which I know you have an opinion on. It's pretty unique to Japan, where everyone is transporting. They have long train rides and bus rides to work, and they have time to play handheld devices. And they want to spend more time in their rooms versus spending time in the living room playing the game. So they'd rather play the handheld devices. What he's saying, that it's a Japanese thing, which I don't think it's necessarily a Japanese thing. Certainly, there's a lot of public transportation in Japan, but it's not like there isn't any here.
Yeah, no kidding.
Yeah.
Man up and play it at home. Make time.
Yeah, that's what we do.
Yeah.
God damn it.
Yeah.
Full-time job, school, the podcast.
There's time.
There's time. You just gotta make it. You just gotta ignore every woman in your life.
Yeah.
Just
destroy your relationship statuses.
There's this kind of trend to being more accessible, but since I was very young, I've played games for long hours. I spent long amounts of time in front of the TV delving into games, so I enjoy those type of games. And I naturally want to create those types of games for the current generation and next generations to come. So in terms of whether console games will be received moving forward, in terms of how console games will be received moving forward, it's not to say that I don't have any concerns at all, but I believe that it'll really depend on how Final Fantasy XV does. Because I really want more people to enjoy games in the living room on a big screen. If Final Fantasy XV does not do well, perhaps there's not much of a future for console games. It really depends on how that goes.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know how true that is. Console games are still pretty big over here. Maybe as far as Japanese companies go.
We are just the United States is 1/3 of Square Enix's sales.
Yeah, so I mean, you really gonna not make games just because
you're gonna do the mobile games that do not sell here?
Maybe.
They don't sell here.
No, they don't, but I mean, maybe it's enough for them to continue living on over there. Yeah. But I mean, I can't see Kojima, going pure mobile. So I don't buy this. Depending on how this game goes,
well,
all gaming is going to be obsolete on console. Shit.
Well, if it's obsolete on consoles, at least it'll not be obsolete. It'll never be obsolete on PC. At least in the foreseeable future.
I think that's encompasses PC though. That opinion.
Yeah.
As far a console's a hell of a lot closer to PC.
Big screen.
Or PC is closer to console than handheld.
Right.
So I mean, it might affect it all. And I think he's mostly talking about RPGs.
Yeah,
from Japan. They're
certainly a first-person shooter. It's just blow ass on a handheld device. I mean,
can't imagine.
I'm sure some people have played first-person shooters on handheld devices. I'm not one of them, so I don't really have an opinion. But that's how it seems.
Yeah, I don't know. The technology is getting better, but
still, it's a 4-inch screen. I mean, if you go to the movie theater versus watching something on your iPod, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter how high def your 4-inch screen is, it's still a 4-inch screen.
Yeah,
and thus the experience will be less encompassing and less enjoyable and less memorable, I do believe. And you may want to waste time while, let's say, you're on the train or you're on the bus, but
it's a time waster.
On that thing, right, exactly, but it's not something you would do for a hobby,
right,
like you would watch movies or play video games.
Yeah, there are time waster games, like when you try to play Snake back in the day, when you pick up the apples. That's a time waster. But are you going to play a Final Fantasy with the 10 minutes you have on a bus ride or 20 minutes? No.
No, you got to find a save point, man.
It's a huge game. Yeah, you can't be doing that.
And the concern I have with something like that, let's say Final Fantasy XV disappoints in sales, which it shouldn't. I mean, 13 highly hated, still the fourth biggest selling Final Fantasy game.
Right.
So it was a success, despite what a lot of people think. Lightning Returns was not a success, but Final Fantasy XIII was. And then let's say 15 doesn't do well. They're gonna do what they did with Dragon Quest, put it on the DS or something like that.
Yeah.
Like Final Fantasy 16 will just be mobile from then on, which would be horrible.
Yeah.
So everybody buy 15 when it comes out.
Yeah, please. We're going to.
Exactly.
So you should.
Exactly.
Well, We're gonna buy PS4s just for that and Type 0.
We will if it doesn't come out on PC. Then yeah,
we have to because Type 0 is not coming on PC.
Oh, you're right.
Which sucks. I don't know. It might not suck. My PC is pretty good, but the PS4 is pretty damn good too. So.
Yeah, exactly.
And
my PC's not PS4.
My monitor is not nearly as good as my TV, so I'll probably buy it on PS4.
Definitely. I'd say hopefully they get all released on the PC. That'd be nice.
Yeah, I think they could make a lot of money, as we've discussed before, releasing everything on Steam. That'd be awesome.
And they'll start being like American companies where they release everything on PC. So like they'll start doing spin-offs that are only PC, right? Like Halo Wars, it'll be like a Final Fantasy strategy game.
Yeah, real-time strategy.
Exactly. Like you know that one game in 15 where you have to, or not in 15, but in 7 where you have to like protect the Condor.
Yeah,
You know
yeah,
what
I
I'm talking
remember
about?
that.
It'll be like that, only like bigger and more
intense.
Yeah, more intense.
It's kind of like a tower defense sort of idea.
Yeah, something like that. Yeah.
Except for then you go into the battle.
Right.
Yeah, I could see that. That'd be sweet.
It would be sweet. I think so. Anyway. So yeah, that's our news, and then our discussion on 15, which of course we have every time. Oh wait, no, there was one more thing I wanted to say to make the wait for 15 not seem as bad.
Okay.
Final Fantasy XIII was in development for the PS2 during the development for Final Fantasy XII. They had started Final Fantasy XIII, and of course, a whole bunch of technology changes and stuff like that. Now, they didn't announce it as early on,
right,
as they did 15.
At least versus 13.
Exactly. They announced them around the same time. They were both at E3 2006, where they put out the trailer for Versus 13 and 13. It was this whole Fabula Novella Crystallis or whatever. I'm pronouncing that wrong, I am sure.
That's okay.
That was unveiled in 2006 of E3.
Okay.
And it was released, of course, the game was finally released in December 17th of 2009 in Japan. And in March in
sometime in
the
March.
United States. Exactly.
A week before God of War 3.
A week before God of War 3. That was so annoying.
Yeah.
It's like getting Game Informer and like the game of the month. It's just like, come on. Gotta give Final Fantasy something, but
I don't know, man. God of War 3 was pretty good. It's the reason why I didn't beat 13.
Anyway, the demo for 13 was actually released April 16th of 2009, along with Advent Children Complete in Japan.
Okay.
The gap between April and December, not that big. Am I correct here in saying that that's not that long?
No,
of a time?
that's very short.
Exactly. And there wasn't even a release date for 13 around that time. The release date for 13 was announced in September 8th of 2009, just a couple months before its release in Japan on December 17th. So whenever we get the release date for 15, if it's going to follow the same pattern as 13, it's just going to be a couple months before the game comes out.
And I think there's a lot of evidence looking towards that being the case because they're not talking about this thing at all.
They're not talking about it.
And maybe that's genius. I mean, it's pissing me off, but maybe it's genius. Maybe it's like, oh yeah, by the way, it's coming out in 3 months. They're just going to suddenly say that.
Maybe.
I hope.
Now, earlier on in 2009, near the beginning of the year, they were saying it was going to be released late that year. And all we've heard from Square Enix about 15 is that it'll probably be released in spring of 2015.
Right.
That's what they're kind of saying. So following that pattern, we're saying late 2015, I think.
For
is what
Japan?
we're saying for 2000 or for Final Fantasy 15. I'm saying for here. Actually, for Japan, I think it's going to be middle 2015 probably. I wish they would just release them at the same time. They did it for 9.
Yeah, it's doable. It's just takes a lot
I guess it would take a lot of
translating.
Effort. Yeah, which is too bad.
Yeah.
Anyway, so if that makes the wait any easier, I hope you'll just take that into account. Definitely. Yeah. 13 was kind of a sudden release. after a long wait. And this wait has certainly been much longer.
Yeah.
But
maybe it'll be much shorter.
They did just officially announce 15 not that long ago. What, a year or so ago?
Yeah.
And so, considering the timeline, if they're going to go 3 years for 13 since its official unveiling in 2006, maybe we got 2 more years also. Maybe.
Yeah, maybe.
Just following that timeline of 3 years. I just wish they would just stop every other game in Square Enix and just go for 15.
That would be their best bet,
Yeah.
I would say.
All right. Well, let's get to our review of Final Fantasy Legend of the Crystals.
Oh, yes.
Okay. So, Final Fantasy Legend of the Crystals. The sequel to Final Fantasy V, set hundreds of years in the future.
Are you sure it's not 1,000?
Generation. It's not 1,000 years.
Damn it!
Not like every other fucking number in the series.
Yeah.
Set a couple hundred years in the future, and consists of the adventures of the descendants of Bartz.
Right.
Of course.
Yeah.
What did they name him in the Final Fantasy V movie? Because they named him something else.
It's like...
Batsu? Or Bats? It was just Bats.
Yeah, that's what they called
Exactly.
Bart's.
Right.
Bats.
Bats. I'm descended of Bats.
Yeah.
Anyway, there's not much to be said about the production of this movie, unfortunately. Or, excuse me, it's an OVA, so it's like a mini-series, but it was released on VHS.
As a big block thing.
No, it was 2 VHSs.
Oh,
like,
right. Sorry, I forget the
2 of the chapters in one, 2 of the other.
Okay.
It was directed by a guy with the pseudonym of Rintaro, who is famous, of course, for directing the 2001 animated film Metropolis, which I've heard of, actually, though I've never seen. Along with a couple other movies and some other, smaller animation projects, including this one. It was released in Japan. The first 2 episodes were released, the first episode was released on March 21st of 1994. The second episode on May 21st of 94. Third on June 21st of 94. And the fourth on July 21st of 94. And was released on VHS in the United States on November 24th, 1998, and is only available on VHS and YouTube now. Which, of course, although we are against piracy, we are also against companies only releasing their stuff on VHS and never releasing them again.
It's not necessarily pirated. I mean, I watched the original Dawn of the Dead on YouTube the other day, and
if it was on DVD, we would have bought it for the show.
Yeah. That's true, and I didn't buy Dawn of the Dead on the DVD, but I can never find it. I can never find it anywhere. I'm gonna watch it on YouTube if I can't find it.
Dawn of the Dead?
Yeah, it's like 1978, and I cannot find this fucking movie anywhere. I've watched the other 2 in that series, the trilogy of George A. Romero, and I'm like, I want to watch this one. It's supposed to be the best one, and I can only watch it on YouTube.
I'm sorry. Even that must be tough for you.
Oh, it was okay actually. It looked surprisingly quality, and same with this. It looked all right. I mean, considering it was a VHS port to YouTube.
Right.
I was expecting
good old 240p.
Yeah. Oh, God.
We meet again.
Yeah.
The series is split into 4 episodes, even though we watched it as a movie, because a very fine gentleman or woman, I'm sure, put together the whole VHS onto one video, and it was nice. And I sent that link out there trying to get our listeners' opinions on the movie, and we got nothing.
Yeah, thanks, guys.
Yeah, thanks. The chapters are the wind chapter, the fire chapter, and of course we were like, oh, it's going to keep going with the elements, and then it turned into the dragon chapter and the star chapter after that.
Yeah, so these are bullshit crystals as opposed to the elemental ones before.
So let's talk about some of the characters. Linali, our far away descendant of bats. She goes off with her grandfather, of course, and they go to save one of the crystals.
Right.
And I'm not even sure how old this girl is. I can't really find any information. I don't think it was said within the show. She looks about 12 years old, and we consistently saw her panties every, couple minutes?
Yeah, it was insane.
It was a lot of what they call fan service.
And I was not served. I
wasn't either. It was just kind of like,
It was weird.
It was weird.
I mean, even if we knew her age, it'd still be weird. It's like, why?
So along with Linali, excuse me, there was a kid named Pretz or Pest.
Yeah, the very annoying actual descendant of Bart's. Well, one of them, I guess.
Anyway,
so are they all descendants?
I don't think he's a descendant of Bart's.
Well, he's the one that looks more like, or his name seems more like.
Yeah, but he's not a descendant of Bart's.
Okay, because
he's just got a crush on Linali and wants to be the hero, and of course he follows Linali and her grandfather and takes part in the adventure.
Right.
And gets tickled, tortured.
Yeah, weirdest thing I've ever seen.
He constantly looks at the glowing butt of Linali later on in the film, of course. Now, we also have an anti-hero that joins the group after being a really annoying pirate, because it's Final Fantasy V, so thus we need pirates.
Yar, matey.
And her name is Rouge.
Madame Rouge.
And she has a rockin' body, and she's...
a lot of servants that don't have rockin' bodies.
There's a lot of servants with the physique of myself walking around.
They're all Olga, too, I swear. Madame Rouge, what would you like
dominatrix clothing.
Yeah,
and it's really S&M, and it's really weird.
S&M.
And what kind of pirates dress like that?
You know what kind?
They're like motorcycle pirates.
Yeah, all the leather and the. It was crazy.
They aren't the kind of pirates like in Final Fantasy V where they were on the water. These were airship pirates.
Yeah, so it's like 12.
Yeah,
airship.
Yeah, it is like 12 with the airship pirates.
It's weird.
And then, of course, Caleb, our friend, pointed out that her servants were always wearing 3D glasses, which is true.
It's weird, but
it's so weird. They have like the blue on one side and the red on the other. They're really square looking.
Yeah.
Are they like... Does that help them with their vision, you think?
Maybe.
I doubt it. Haven't you ever like put on the old 3D glasses where it was one color on one side and the other color on the other?
Yeah, it made it look crappy. And I'm one-eye dominant, so I only saw like red.
Are you?
Yeah.
Really? Okay.
If I concentrate, I can see both, but everyone's that way. You only see out of one eye.
I've never noticed a problem with the thing. I know I'm dominant.
Well,
when I shoot a gun. By the way, guys, I like guns.
But I mean. If you're watching a movie, you can see the both colors, and it does make it 3D.
Okay, yeah. Because I'm like remembering like the Beowulf movie.
Yeah.
Like the 3D glasses are not the 3D glasses we have now.
No.
They were the older 3D glasses that we were used to when we were kids. Like we'd see 3D stuff, and it'd be like the one color on one side, the one color on the other.
Yeah, and it was cool, but it's
cool.
Very subpar now.
All right, and then we also have Valkus, who is a tycoon soldier guy who is extremely fat, and Pretz keeps on calling him Fatso throughout the whole movie.
Yeah.
And, of course, Fatso, Valkus he's madly in love with Rouge, and, of course, by the end of the movie, puts on his own S&M uniform and becomes one of the nasty ass looking pirates.
It's odd, yes.
The pirates that are out of shape.
Yeah.
That's what I should call it. Anyway, Caleb, what was your overall experience with the movie?
It wasn't... I enjoyed it probably more than what I've seen thus far of Final Fantasy Unlimited. I can't judge Unlimited as a whole yet, but it's less bullshit. Well, I don't know. Yeah, I'd say so. The names are less annoying. You, pacifist.
Oh, I should also talk about Mid.
Oh yeah, Mead.
Mead. Yes.
The one recurring character.
As he was pronounced in the movie, of course, named Mead, and we called him Mid because
his name's
Sid,
Mid.
and then there's Mid, right? You know, that makes sense.
Yeah, Mead actually makes more sense as a name.
Does it?
Yeah, but it doesn't make sense because they pronounce Sid, so... Well,
Yeah.
it's Seed. Which is then just odd.
I am the seed of seed.
Yeah.
S-E-E-D? No.
They'd pronounce Seed as Sid.
C-I-D.
So I am the Sid of Seed.
I am the Sid of Seed. Yeah, they'll just fuck up all the pronunciations of all the names in Final Fantasy V.
Why not?
Of course, at this point, Final Fantasy V wasn't released in the States, so we got the VHS sequel
Before we got the game.
What
the hell? That's true. I didn't even think about that. Like years before, too.
No, it wasn't years before. It was 98, and then the Final Fantasy V came out. Origins, I think, was in 99 or 2000.
Was it?
Yeah.
I think it was 2000, actually. So
A couple years. It wasn't
couple
that
years,
big.
yeah.
It wasn't that big of a deal. We could look up the
It's just odd
actual
that they would
numbers for
release a
that.
movie before the game
Right,
it's
but
based on.
it wasn't... They did call it Legend of the Crystals Final Fantasy. They didn't call it Final Fantasy V Legend of the Crystals.
That's true.
So, even
guess
though
it works.
that should be its title, at least.
Yeah.
If anything, it should be called Final Fantasy V 2 or something. I don't know. Even though it wasn't that connected to 5. I mean, besides, like, Mid...
And the descendant of
who
Bart's.
who is a ghost the whole time in this show, and the fact that they are descendants of Bart's, and there's that one flashback to Sid with a beefy ass Bart looking down upon them. Do you remember the beef?
Yeah.
The beefcake Barts.
He was kind of a big dude in the game, but I didn't ever understood why.
No, I always thought he was like some kid because that's how they'd show him in the game, right?
Yeah, I guess.
But then, and they also show him as blonde in the FMV movie.
They're obsessed with the blondes, man.
Yeah, but in this movie, he's got dark hair. You remember that?
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
in the movie. Well, in the game, he has brown hair.
He's got yeah. But then in the full motion video after the game on the anthology, he's blonde, which is ridiculous.
I don't understand that thing. I don't know why
Anyway,
that
he
exists.
is a serious hunk in in Final Fantasy V movie.
Yeah.
Oh man, because I just had he's this cool adventurous little dude with his chocobo, just riding around, and then he's like, he went to the gym and he also grew 5, 6, 7 inches.
Yeah.
And
Well, it's a ghost of him, so he probably died maybe in his mid-20s, maybe early 30s. So he got some bulk in before then.
Oh, you got some bulking up.
Yeah. Had some protein shakes and
Exactly.
went for it.
So the story was just basically the story of 5, like I said before. They're going to save the crystals, and then crap gets in the way, and then there's this being. What the crap was his name? Who? Let's see. Let me find his name here quick. I'm not gonna be able to find it quick. Okay, so there's this being, Raw Devil. There we go. Raw Devil, who is taking all the crystals and is trying to become this super being, and of course they get rid of him at the end. That's basically the whole story. Basically the same thing Exdeath was doing, except
Exdeath is way more
Exdeath messed
intense.
with time and crap like that.
Yeah.
Way more badass. But kind of the same as 5. The grandpa, the adventurer with the
grandpa.
chocobo. Doesn't look quite like a chocobo.
No, it's...
Okay, explain the chocobo to our listeners.
The chocobo, imagine a chocobo, and then imagine it plucked cruelly and naked. That is what the chocobo is in this movie. It is a plucked bird, and it's disturbing looking to me.
They couldn't draw the feathers for some reason.
It's scary. I mean, it's
we all know what a chocobo looks like, and when they made the show, they were like, "That's a chocobo." Nah, don't like it.
Yeah.
Want to do my own thing.
The Final Fantasy wiki even has a real chocobo on it. It's the feathered yellow bird. That is the description of the fucking chocobo. And instead we get
this chocobo went through a lot of chemotherapy.
Yeah, it is a survivor.
and got sunburned on the way, by the way.
Yeah, it's a survivor, but
it looks a lot more like a flamingo.
It does. It's a little bit darker color, but yeah, it's essentially, imagine a flamingo bow.
Oh, man. There was a lot of sexual stuff in this show. Like the dead creature with the huge tits. Do you remember that?
Yeah.
The huge tits.
Yeah, I do remember.
And then all the S&M uniforms, the panties on Linalia or whatever her name is.
Yeah,
Linali, excuse me. I'm having trouble with their name for some reason.
You know, the crystals, when you pick them up in 5, they shatter and you get the job classes.
Right, exactly.
And this one, instead, it enters into your chest and makes your ass glow. Which is a strange change for the crystal. But like Linali,
that scene where it first starts glowing and then it's like on her ass cheeks and it's like, why am I watching this show?
Yeah, what the fuck? Who thought of that? It's like, no, the ass. It must glow.
It must glow.
Yeah. It's so weird, right? And when it enters, what's his name? His ass doesn't glow.
His ass doesn't glow? Well, he has pants.
True, maybe we just don't see it.
We just don't see it.
His thick pants.
It would be even worse if like his crotch started glowing.
That's what I was hoping would happen, actually. When I was watching, I was like, dude.
The power of the crystal.
No, his crotch starts glowing, and then her ass starts glowing, too.
Oh, no. Oh, no. I bet there's a fan, some sexy swinging fan fiction for that.
Oh, I bet there is.
I found its sexualization of this girl who looks about 12 years old a little disturbing.
Yeah.
If anything. And that's something that bugs me about. I know we have a lot of listeners on this podcast who listen to this podcast and who love anime. So I'm not trying to like alienate you guys, but I do not like anime.
Yeah, it depends. There's good anime.
Well, yeah, there's good film. Oh, crap. I'm going to go on this tangent again, and I did it in a commentary earlier, like our first commentary that we did. You weren't there for that, but first commentary that we did, I went on this tangent before. I don't like anime. The sexualization of the girls who look like they're about 11 or 12 is really disturbing and not sexy. That's one of the reasons I cannot stand anime. The other reason I don't like anime, it's not the style. The style doesn't really actually bug me. The animation quality for most anime, and it should just be called Japanese animation, not anime. It's a really stupid-ass term. It's usually really low. Like when you watch like a DreamWorks film or a Disney film, it's hand-drawn animation, most of it's high quality. Now, there are some exceptions, like Disney in the 60s was not that great, right. As far as quality of animation was concerned. However, most of the time, Disney animation quality is at its peak. And I'll say this too, I know because you guys are going to bring this up, I love most of Studio Ghibli movies. They also have really high quality animation. And that, I feel, is where animation should be. Yeah. So when I see these television shows where they'll take a frame of animation and they'll loop it, or they'll have like the freeze frame on the one character and the only thing that'll be moving is their mouth, just because they're trying to save a few bucks in the animation process, I really don't like it.
Right.
I don't like the cheapness of how it looks. Now, this film actually isn't that bad looking. No,
it looks a lot better than
the animation in this film is, once again, what you're trying to say. I know what you're saying. What are you saying?
It's better than Unlimited.
It's better than Unlimited. Exactly. I think there was a lot more movement in the animation. Now, the color palette doesn't look that great, but if they're trying to match the color palette of 5, I think they did it well.
Yeah, they did. They did.
That is something that bugs me about anime, though, is the sexualization of young girls. It really, really disturbs me. I don't know.
Yeah,
do you know what I'm talking about?
I do know what you're talking about, and that's part of the reason why I don't like it.
Yeah. And so I know you guys who watch anime, it's something that you guys are used to. It kind of makes me grossed out.
Yeah. But I mean, there are good
animes. Especially the panty shots.
Yeah, there were a lot of them in this one.
Really disturbed me, and I'm thinking of the one anime show that I watched all the way through, Neon Genesis Evangelion, like the naked one girl who's supposed to be like 14 years old. You have to see her naked like 20,000 times. Ray, that's her name. Yeah, and that was really disturbing too.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. They just do that, and it's gross. Now, admittedly, child porn was not illegal in Japan until 1993, which I found out, and that was holy crap.
Yeah.
It was illegal before then to make child porn, but
not to have.
But to be in possession of child porn, it wasn't illegal until the early 90s.
Wow. Yeah.
So I feel like there's something in the culture that's a little bit, younger girl sexualization in there, but I can't really speak for it because I'm not Japanese.
Yeah. All we can say is that we see a lot of it, and it's not appreciated for us, really.
It's definitely not, and I don't like the cheapness of the animation, and I also don't like it being called anime. Anime is a style, not a genre, and people often treat it as a genre.
Yeah,
and it's not, because like how can the film Akira be in the same genre as the film Whispers of the Heart, which is just a little drama. You know what I mean? It doesn't make any sense to call it a genre, because one is sci-fi and one is a small drama.
Yeah, they're
one
not
is a family drama. Those are not the same. They're just both in a style. They're both animated, and the animation style is called anime. You should just call it Japanese animation, honestly.
Yeah, that would be a lot better.
Because that's where it's from. And it's just animation. It's not a different thing.
Right. So,
although
overall,
there's this whole otaku subculture that's just growing around this very broad thing.
Right.
It really bugs me.
So overall, what do you feel about it?
About this film?
Yeah.
Better than I thought it was going to be.
Right.
It was funny and it was entertaining. The story wasn't very enthralling, but the characters I thought were interesting enough to go along with, and especially what's his name? What's his name again? Oh, Valkus. Valkus I thought was a lot of fun to watch. Especially like it was corny, but it was funny when he'd go off and like go into his head and we'd hear the voiceover and he's like, "I'm in love with Rouge.
Yeah.
I want to become a pirate." You know, that whole thing. I thought it was corny, but it was entertaining and kind of fun. Now, in comparison to every Final Fantasy, it's horrible. But it may or may not be better than Advent Children. I'd have to rewatch Advent Children.
I don't know.
Animation quality in Advent Children is far better.
Oh yeah.
Entertainment wise, this is a lot more entertaining.
Yeah.
I think so. Yeah.
I don't know, man.
The action scenes in Advent Children are pretty sweet though.
Yeah, and Reno and Root are pretty cool in Advent Children. They're fairly true to how they are in the game.
Yeah, Red 13's voiceover for
Yeah,
that
you
one
can't get-
the last scene
past
of
it.
Advent Children is just so horrible.
Yeah. We'll go over that later, though.
They have the stigma or something.
Yeah.
Oh my god. His British accent with the...
Yeah.
Oh, it's horrid. And then the Kate Sith, like, Scottish cartoon thing. I don't even know if that's Scottish. I don't know what it is.
Yeah, I don't know.
It's horrible. Anyway, no, I thought this film was completely unnecessary. However, fun, and if I were a kid, I probably would have liked it quite a bit. And not that I didn't like it now.
Yeah, I don't think I'll ever watch it again.
I'm seeing a lot of shit. No, I'm not gonna watch it again either. I'm seeing a lot of shit on the internet where people are just hating on this film. And of course, they're probably anime fans, and they have some reasons that are anime-esque for the hatred of this film, I'm sure.
Yeah, we can't see it from that angle. But...
We can't see it from that perspective. We can only see it as Final Fantasy fans, and as a film lover, it's not horrible.
No, there's way worse animation.
Yeah, I'd give it like a C.
Yeah.
I'd say, you know what I mean? What would you give it?
I like the number rating system. I'd probably give it like a 2 out of 5, maybe.
2 out of 5?
2.5.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's not the worst thing in the world.
No, but there was a review that we both looked over where they basically tried to make a movie for the worst Final Fantasy game.
And yeah, okay, it was them. It was this is on the Wikipedia site for this thing because I was trying to look up information.
There's not much, but yeah.
There's nothing. THEM anime reviews, which I've never heard of in my life, so I'm just going to quote myself on this Wikipedia page.
Yeah.
Once we get done with this thing, I'll be like, Ultimate Final Fantasy podcast stated about the game.
Yeah.
And I'll just come up with a quote. Them anime reviews calls it a cruel mockery of all Final Fantasy stands for, citing it as basing the storyline off of the weakest title in the series. The finale is anticlimactic and the villain disappointing.
True
about
the villain.
yeah, exactly, the anticlimactic ending and the villain being disappointing.
Yeah.
That's right. Not much of a villainous presence.
Same with 5 though for the first part.
5, yeah, I'd say it kind of follows 5 in that flaw there. But a cruel mockery of all Final Fantasy stands for.
Final Fantasy stands for a lot of different stuff.
Yeah,
and a lot of it's in this.
Right, exactly. Final
the
Fantasy
cheesiness that exists.
Right, exactly. And the youth going out and being the hero. And
yeah, that is what Final Fantasy
trying
is.
to bring balance to the world. I think that's what we've seen for the first 5 games at the very least.
Yeah.
That's what Final Fantasy is about. Is about balance in the world. And it's about people coming together to do the right thing, and they go against those who are selfish, who want to destroy the world for their own purposes, or for money, or for power, or whether they want to destroy time for immortality, and then people who go against that, who come together and go against it. That's what Final Fantasy is about. And honestly, that the movie had that.
Yeah, it might not have been the best interpretation of it, but it was there.
Certainly. And what you were talking about, the weakest title in the series?
Yeah, this has been
bullshit.
This has been the best one so far.
5 in our replay of the first one. Well, it's your first time through all of them, but my replay of the first ones, it's so much better.
4 might be
then 4's
on the
good.
same par as 5. It just the ending is the only reason, like we talked about a million times, that killed 4. But if these guys are trying to tell me,
it's still good.
Yeah, no, I'm not saying killed it. I'm saying made it below 5.
Right, for
the endings. Honestly, if you think Final Fantasy 1 is better than Final Fantasy 5, you've never played Final Fantasy 1. Or probably Final Fantasy 5. And if you've played 5, you've played 5 and 7 and up. That's it. Maybe 6. Because the early ones...
That's not true, because Green Mushroom is going through all of them with us.
He is.
And I would love to hear what his opinion on the best Final Fantasy is, and I think he might have put that on a...
He talked about it. 5 was his personal favorite.
5 was his personal favorite?
Yeah.
Was it?
Yeah, I believe that was him, and he said 6 is the best, but 5 is his personal favorite. So
I don't think that was Green Mushroom. I think that was someone else. Maybe. Sorry, Green Mushroom.
Yeah, if I'm confusing you, you better love 5. No, but seriously, if you think 5 is better than, or 1 is better than 5, you've never played.
You're also seeing. There might be people who think 1 is better, and the only reason they would think that, possibly the only possible way that they could think that 1 is a better game than Final Fantasy V is if they're looking through 1 with rose-colored glasses, if they're looking through it just simply based upon their experiences as a youth and how they felt about the game then.
So nostalgia factor.
Nostalgia. That's all that it is.
Yeah, it's you can.
1 is not a good game.
To
today's standards, and unfortunately, for those older players out there who listen to us, we are looking through the games as they are now.
Yeah, not that it's a bad game.
We try to look at it when we originally review them as, back then they only had, so much, but the game mechanics in 1 are not that great.
Yeah.
And they fixed a lot of stuff for like the re-releases down the road. Certainly Dawn of Souls is a good game.
Yeah.
Final Fantasy 1 Dawn of Souls, but even your anthologies clunky.
Yeah. They are.
So, no, Final Fantasy V is one of the better games, at least in the first 5 of the series.
Yeah, I would agree. At the very least, it should be your
number 2. It's the best one of the first 5. I mean, God.
It should be top 2 of those 5 at the very least.
Right. And certainly as you get further down the series, it's going to drop a few spaces, but
oh yeah.
At least we think it will. You never know. Might play 7 again and be like, this sucks. I don't know.
Yeah.
Who knows? We're trying to keep an open mind here, but no, no, it stood for the Final Fantasy just fine, and yeah, whatever. Them anime reviews can go to hell.
Yeah, they're clearly anime, not Final Fantasy.
Yeah, I guess maybe they're like, it didn't have enough panty shots for me.
Yeah.
Didn't sexualize the 12-year-old girl enough. Actually, there's no age for the girl, which is how I think they get away with it. Yeah, it's interesting. Certainly, if you were making a Final Fantasy V sequel, would you have placed it 200 years in the future?
Maybe. If I would have had X-Death, though, coming back to life.
Right, because X-Death was like already the bad guy, so you'd have some kind of connection with that if you were making a sequel to it.
Maybe him and Garland met up in the past, and they messed with time yet again.
And Ultimacia is there, too.
Yeah. So, no, I probably would have made it different. I would have had someone other than Mead come back.
Then Mead, yeah. Sid was way better.
Yeah. Mead was kind of annoying.
Mead was an annoying-ass character, wasn't he?
Yeah. And he was annoying in the movie, too. So they kept true to that.
Oh, I was thinking about the movie.
Oh, in the game, I thought he was annoying in both.
Yeah.
I thought it was annoying that his name was Mid, descendant of Sid, brother of Jid. No, I don't know. And his sister.
Maker of Jizz.
Yeah, maker of Kid.
Maker of Kid.
It's too much, but yeah, I don't know. It was all right.
It was all right.
Yeah.
It was aight. I
think the other Final Fantasy movie was better.
Okay, so I do have a couple of opinions from not listeners, but some other people on Reddit, even though I invited all of you guys to tell us your opinion on the Final Fantasy V sequel movie and give you a link to watch the whole thing, and I'm really disappointed.
Yeah.
Really disappointed in all of you. Anyway, I did post on Reddit, though, the same thing. I asked a couple people what their thoughts were, and considering every time we post on Reddit, there's usually like a crap ton of responses. This time I was like, your thoughts on Final Fantasy Legend of the Crystals, and guess how many people responded?
1.
No, Trace.
Oh.
3 people responded, which I think... Like, I didn't hear about this movie until way later. You know what I mean? Did you even know about this movie before I was like, hey, there's a sequel movie?
No, I had no idea. We would have never done it if it was up to me.
Right, exactly. This movie is so rare. And, like, just when you think of Final Fantasy movies or TV shows, you think Unlimited, or Spirits Within, if you think Spirits Within, and then Advent Children, right?
Oh, yeah.
This movie hardly ever comes up, but it was actually the first, like... television or movie produced based upon a Final Fantasy. So I asked for some opinions. We got one with sound Dindrome. Nice. He says, I have both parts on VHS still and started to watch them again not too long ago. Great movies. It's not really movies, but you know, it's like little 30-minute segments. Anyway, I enjoyed them as a kid and still do, most likely for nostalgia, but I completely forgot how cheesy they are.
Yeah, you forget that over time.
It's true. Then we got another response, and this is the other response we got. The third response is not actually, they hadn't actually watched the movie. This one says, I've only watched about half of it once. By the 30-minute mark, my friends and I spontaneously started giving it the MST3K treatment.
You know what that is? Mystery Science Theater.
Right.
Yeah.
I knew what it was, but I didn't know what that stood for. Like, because I've seen that acronym before, but I've never...
Yeah, it's Mystery
Science Theater
3000.
Because I've watched that.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, it's a lot of fun. Around an hour in, we decided that even mocking it didn't help enough to make it tolerable. For what it's worth, I thought Advent Children was bad too, but it was still entertaining after turning off the higher parts of my brain and enjoying the fan service and action. What fan service was in Advent Children?
I don't know if it's necessarily...
Tifa was pretty good looking in Advent Children.
Yeah,
but that was about it. It's not like I saw her
it's,
panties all the time.
I think it's, no kidding. There was more like fan service in the form of...
action.
It's for the fans action-wise.
Right. The third response. I'm a huge FF5 fan, and I have not yet seen Legend of the Crystals, so I would definitely check this out. Did this OVA even have anybody from Square working or from the FF5 team working on it? The answer is no. It was, I think it said it was associate produced by Hironobu Sakaguchi, but all that means is that, I don't know, he probably said yes and no to a couple things, and that was about it.
Yeah.
The associate producer role is not a real role in filmmaking.
It's probably just permission.
Yeah.
Since it was him that created the series.
But, I'm not 100% sure on that stuff because there's, no information upon the making of this short series. There's not. It's just, nothing out there.
Yeah.
I wish there was. I wish there was something where they had all that, all that making of shit for Advent Children. I wish they had something for this.
Yeah, just a little tidbit so we can talk.
That'd be nice. No, I thought the movie was okay. I'd give it a C.
Yeah.
Definitely. And I'd give Advent Children a C-. So that's where we go. I'd give Spirits Within a B+.
I think that might be a little harsh. I think Advent Children might be better. I don't know though. It's been a while, and I know I'm not gonna like it.
I'm
as
telling
much as
it, man.
I
loved Advent Children before, but now I have seen it many times, and each time I watch it, it gets a little worse.
Yeah.
Now I have not, guys. I have not seen Advent Children complete. The extra 30 minutes.
Me neither.
So we should review that when we review Advent Children.
Yeah.
We'll watch the complete edition and review that because it's complete,
Yeah, why not? We can.
Apparently, the first one wasn't complete.
No, that's why they had to make Dirge of Cerberus.
They gave us a shitty product, and then they were like, "No, let's do it again."
Yeah.
30 more minutes.
Yeah.
Make it a 2-hour movie instead.
It's a legit movie at 2 hours.
It's true. It is a legit movie at 2 hours. An hour and a half movie doesn't feel like a movie to me. It really needs to be a real movie. A real movie needs to be 3 hours long.
I don't know about that.
2:45, I think, is about the perfect length for a movie. And I am in the minority thinking that, and I understand that. But
I think 2 hours.
The great movies of the world, most of them sit at above 2:45. Let's talk about the great movies of the world. Gone with the Wind, The Godfather, Lawrence of Arabia. These movies are super long.
True.
Schindler's List, Saving Private Ryan, if we're going to talk about Spielberg stuff. I mean, the best stuff, the real beefy stuff, always.
So should they come out with a 2 hour and 45-minute Advent Children movie? Is that what you
want?
want?
And then it'll be amazing? No.
It's not going to happen.
No.
All right, so... Well, thanks for...
I guess that's about it for the Final Fantasy V stuff.
Thanks for not watching it and commenting on it. You still can.
Tell you what.
It's on YouTube.
Yeah. It's on our blog. It's also on our forums, which, by the way, thank you guys who have been on the forums talking about... I know there's been some new threads in the Kingdom Hearts section of our forums.
Right.
As well as... I think a Final Fantasy All the Bravest thread was opened up. And we just want to thank you guys for, playing around on the forums. Keep playing on the forums. Those of you who have not gone to the forums, there's 2 ways you can get there. You can listen to me say this whole entire name of the forum. It's Ultima Final Fantasy .boards, BOARDS, .net. You can go there, or you can go to ultimafinalfantasy.com, click on forums, and then there'll be a link on that page to the forum, and sign up or sign in as a guest and say hello on the introductions page at the very least, and start talking about Final Fantasy. Certainly we love seeing when there's there's I think there's maybe 12 people on the forums.
Yeah,
I think there's 5 active members, but there's a few guests.
I want to see interactions. I'm on there. I post stuff.
Yeah.
You guys.
And if you have suggestions for other shows, we already got one suggestion in. There's a place to go there for that. If you guys want more tactical, it's not Tactical Tuesday, but that's what I'm going to call it right now. Tactical Tuesday stuff. There's a section for that. If you want us to do an episode or a section of an episode on how to get something in one of the games or how to do something in one of the games, at least one of the main series games. We can't really talk about spin-offs too much. Or if you want to, let's say, go to, what's our other section? Oh, the Did You Know section. If you know something cool about Final Fantasy, lore or anything like that, go to the Did You Know section and tell us about it, certainly, and then we can talk about it on the show.
Yeah.
We don't want you guys to email us anymore. We want you to be on the forums.
Yeah, it's a lot.
And talking about it.
It's
easier for us to look at it as a whole, plus then the emails we get for, like, you know, the actual podcasting stuff. We can look at that on our emails and then have a separate place where we do our episode pre-stuff.
Yeah, and I mean, it's nice to have a conversation on it, too.
Exactly. And if you guys want to support the show, make sure you press the PayPal button on our website, ultimatefinalfantasy.com. You can also go into Final Fantasy I and go into the games information at the bottom. There'll be links to different versions of Final Fantasy I. Go ahead and buy something off of Amazon through there. And I will expand the site further so that whenever there's a link to Amazon, a little bit comes to supporting the show. I did some math as far as how much the show costs us per month. And I just want to do a little breakdown here just to get you guys interested in going to buy some stuff on Amazon through our site. Real quick. Let's see. It costs us $20 a month for Libsyn media hosting.
Okay.
Which is really what we want. You know,
that's what we need to recover.
That's what we need to recover from. There's also $27 a month for the Adobe Creative Suite that I use to edit the show and to put the videos up on YouTube for whenever the rest of those videos come up. And then $2.16 average per month for the WordPress and domain upkeep. So in total, our monthly expenses for the podcast are about $49.16, and we really only need about 20 of that recouped. So if you guys could support the show through either donations or buying something off of Amazon through our site, whatever you buy off of Amazon, we'll get like 4% off of, and it is much appreciated. And I don't want to have to beg you guys for money, but it, you know.
It would help.
It would help.
And, I mean, it's an awesome way for you guys to kind of go through the games with us kind of a thing. And then while supporting us, if you're going to buy them, Amazon is a great place to buy the games.
Right.
That's where I've gotten a good chunk of mine.
Right. And I'll put up more links so that whenever you feel like buying a Final Fantasy game off of Amazon, you just go, you know, maybe I should support the podcast a little bit. Go to ultimatefinalfantasy.com, click on that game, and then go straight to Amazon from there.
Yeah.
Yeah. So... anyway, guys, thank you for listening. I think I'll have another commentary for Final Fantasy Unlimited coming out this week. But other than that, we'll see you guys next Monday Monday morning.
Enjoy the grinding.
Oh, yeah. Enjoy the grind. Yeah. I'm glad you did that. That's that's what I put on my Reddit stuff.
Yeah.
Say it again.
Enjoy the grind.
This has been another production of Ultima Final Fantasy, the Ultimate Final Fantasy Podcast. The show was produced by Joseph DeGollier and Caleb Schweiss, with music and editing by Joseph DeGollier, parodies and clips from their respective authors, of course. You can get all of our episodes as well as our Let's Plays at ultimafinalfantasy.com. You can also contact us on Twitter at UFF Podcast, as well as our contact page on our website. Be sure to subscribe and review our podcast. Your reviews may get read on the show, and look forward to the next episode of Ultima Final Fantasy, the Ultimate Final Fantasy Podcast.